Hello everybody. Let's see who's going to turn up, talk a little bit. Got it. Hello everyone. Let's see who's going to turn up for this thing. That's a first for me doing a live, so I don't quite know how it's going to work. I'm going to wing this a little bit. Um, so yeah, here we go. Let's see who's, if there's going to be anyone watching this. Talk a little bit about our crowdfunding, which we just launched on Monday. And thank people who've backed us already. Talk about maybe why we've decided to do this crowdfunding, even though I never thought I would do a crowdfunding, but here we go. And at the same time, if you are watching this, ask me absolutely anything, any random shit. See how it goes. But yeah, here we go. So, in the first place, thank you to people who have backed us already. That's really, really great of you guys. This is kind of a first and a bit of a worry doing crowdfundings. You never know how it's going to go, and obviously, you're trying to make a film, so you're relying on the generosity of people to get you there, and it's so whoever has contributed already, thank you. I'm not going to name you by name yet, not to embarrass you, and everybody else. Well, that's what we're here to talk about. So. The reason we decided to do a crowdfunding is obviously because we did Wyvern Hill, and we did that film on very, very little money. And unfortunately, the game is such at the moment that we still haven't even made a single penny on this film. And so we thought what we would try and do is try, before we go any further, and we had a project of a post-apocalyptic cannibal movie with samurais and all sorts, and we thought, well, before we do this, we kind of need to figure out distribution, because where we found our problem is with distribution. We made this film, where's the camera here, this film, and then essentially it gets sold as this crap, whatever that shit is. Yes, what is that? Look at this. It's fucking disgusting. Blech. Anyway, and so we thought, well, if we're not going to make any money, then might as well be our own fault, and might as well figure that out. So we decided to go for a crowdfunding, and see how that would work, and see if we could get people to participate into our little adventure. Obviously, strange one, because it's not a horror film, which is a first for us, and it's 50% in black and white. So there we go. So that's kind of a tricky one. So let's see who's there. I've got 3 viewers. Say hello if you want. That's fine. I get it. What's going on here? Not much. Okay, that's fine. Goodbye. Okay. Right, it's telling me my FPS is too low, whatever that means. If you're watching this, can you confirm it's working? Or not? In any case, so currently the crowdfunding is going. Aha, here we go. That's the wife. Great, so it is working. Oh, piss off thing. Okay. Okay, so the crowdfunding is currently going all right. A little slow, if we're honest. We'd like to reach more people, so we're not asking necessarily that you contribute in giving us a ton of money, but obviously sharing is a great way to help and reach more people. And in the meantime, if you have any question, I'm here to answer them for the next 20 minutes or so. If we need that long, maybe not. So we decided to launch on Monday, and it's going okay. We have a few issues with Indiegogo, apparently, which is part of what I wanted to talk about here. We have a few issues with Indiegogo where people pledge, and then it congratulates them for helping the campaign, but the pledge never actually goes through, which is really, really strange. I don't exactly know why it's doing this. Oh, hello, Mark. It is working. Great. Okay. So yes, we're not exactly sure what's happening with some of our Indiegogo pledges. We're trying to solve that. Indiegogo are not the most helpful in the matter. Essentially, we got in touch with them, um, and they told us that the pledges were going through, which some of them are, yeah, sure. And they told us to get the people whose pledges didn't go through to be in touch, which we did. But their system is absolutely ridiculous. It's almost impossible to actually reach them, which is stupid because you're essentially putting money in a project, so you want to know that your money is being used properly. And so understand that this is a bit of a pain. But yeah, so yeah, so there you go. So if you fancy backing us, our trailer is on my page at the moment. It's been shared quite a bit. It's been viewed quite a bit. And we are just looking for support to make the actual film. Now, this trailer was done on zero money, relying entirely on the kindness of our actors and our cast and our crew to turn up and be there and do this trailer with us. And it was great fun, to be fair. But really, we need to thank all those people who did turn up. So Dean and Mike and Pete and Suzanne and Corin and all of you guys. Really, that was. Hello, Eviana. Any questions for me? Don't hesitate, even if it's ridiculous. No problem at all. I have to fill some gaps here, so let's do this. So yes, so thank you to our cast and crew for being there to do this trailer. Obviously, the reason we're trying to raise so much money is that in the past we relied entirely on the kindness of people, and profit share, which is great. Profit share is great. It can work, but obviously, as we are yet to see any money for Wyvern Hill, we did not want to rely on this. We wanted the people that make the film to be paid for their work. And so the entirety of the budget that we're looking for right now on Indiegogo is to pay the people that make the film, not me, but the actors, the cast, and the crew. So Mark Stewart, who was watching this a minute ago, Mark, who's been extremely generous with his time and his talent and provided us with so much work that we are yet to pay for. So he's one of those who we want to actually pay for his work, and so that's where the money is going. Essentially, there's really no hidden costs on this. We cost it as tightly as we could, so that it would cover crew, cast, feeding the cast and crew, which is really important, accommodation, traveling, so that nobody has to be out of pocket. And that's really the budget where it's going, which was important to us, because as much as we liked working on profit share with Iviano, who was there a minute ago, and Pat and all these people on Wyvern Hill, the issue is that you can never guarantee that you're going to make a profit, especially in this industry, in this day and age. As indies, we're quite vulnerable to the way that the distribution systems work. We are essentially not protected. We're on our own, and you can never control how these things are going, if you're going to make any money, because essentially what we're seeing right now is what we're seeing from our distributors is a lot of charges that we're not quite sure where they come from. So the bill keeps going up, and apparently, even though we've been one of the top trailers as far as views go on the Britflix in the last few months, well, we're yet to see any revenue from this. So we don't want to rely on that. We want to be able to pay our crew and our actors, they're amazing. They're an amazing bunch of talents. And so we want to be able to pay them. We don't want to be relying on percentages from a contract that might never actually come. So there you go. So we are doing a crowdfunding, and we do need your help. And as I said earlier, that help is not necessarily giving us a huge chunk of money. It can be sharing, it can be promoting it, it can be finding other people that want to back this project. in my opinion, it's a really, obviously I'm going to say that's my project, but in my opinion, it's a very interesting project. It's going to be fairly unique with a very interesting mix of color and black and white. It takes place over two different timelines. One where we follow a woman called Abigail who wants to kind of is trapped in the idea of revenge for a murder that happened, the murder of a father. And on the other timeline, we follow the people who killed their father in the circumstances that led them to that murder. So this part is in color, but Abigail's part is in black and white. And as we follow Abigail, the color slowly comes back into a story as she starts finding meaning to her life again. Whereas this is the opposite with following the storyline of Matt and Ewan, as the as they commit the murder, the color slowly gets sucked out of their story. John, hello. Question: what genre of film would you consider Derelict to be in? I would say it's a modern film noir. I guess that would be the thing that would kind of define it the best. Although it's kind of a drama. Um, it's a very violent revenge drama, but it is a take on the noir, and this is kind of the reason we also decided to go black and white, and also because we are kind of taking inspiration from. Okay, so here we go again. I don't know what happened there, some technical bullshit. Anyway, I don't know who's here, who's not here. John Watson, to answer your question. So yes, so we are. It is kind of a modern noir, I would say, and we, as I was saying, it's also in black and white because we're taking quite a lot of inspiration from the film Lion, Maciej Kasowitz. I've read a thing recently about the children of Lion, kind of all these people who grew up on this movie, and that's kind of me. How old was I when it came out? Maybe 13 or 12 or something, living in a kind of French cité, as they call them. And so it's a film that had a kind of a very personal impact. So yeah, so this is one of those things. And so yeah, to answer your question, John, I don't know if you're watching this. We had a slight mess up earlier, so I don't know if it's still going. I don't know what's going on. But in any case, yeah, so there you go. The genre of this film is a modern noir. Yeah, that's how I would define it. But there's kind of elements of there is kind of elements of horror. I'm saying it's not a horror film. There's a very horrific um, scene bang on in the middle, which is the murder of Abigail's father, which is it's very real, very raw, and I think one of the things that defined it the best is I was talking to one of our screenwriter, Michael McKenzie, and I sent him the draft that I wrote, and he said, I warned him, I said, look, it's kind of bleak, um, it is kind of bleak. And he said, I would say it's relentlessly grim. That's how I defined it. So I suppose a relentlessly grim film noir would be how I define it. So there you go. Any other question from anyone? That was a really interesting question, John. I know you liked Wyvern Hill, so you're one of the few. There you go. And we do have, so John just reminded me, because obviously John Watson is one of our backers currently, and he's been asking for a Wyvern Hill Blu-ray. Now the situation with the Blu-rays is that we managed to negotiate a deal with our distributor that we could do a number of Blu-rays. Now, when we did our initial run, we weren't able we didn't do them all. So essentially, we were allowed to do, I can't remember how many exactly, but we didn't do them all. So we thought, well, we'll save some for the crowdfunding campaign, and we can do a short re-release of them. So these are available with their original cover by Mark Stewart, Yes, Mark, if you're still watching, or if you're not watching, well, this is for you. So this art by Mark Stewart. So this is the Wyvern Hill Blu-ray that we will be sending to our backers who opted for the Blu-ray pledge, or the double Blu-ray Wyvern Hill Derelict. It will contain a soundtrack by Michael Sanchez, who's an amazing composer, who's doing incredible work for us always. And again, coming back to paying the crew and all that, Michael is one of those people that really we are looking at paying a good fee for all the work that he's done for us in the past, and he never complained, and he did all this. And there is one thing about the way that the films have been received, and it's the music. The music, people have always liked the music on those films. And I have to credit Michael Sanchez entirely. Sometimes, and it happened again for the trailer, sometimes I give him kind of a brief and I go, oh, Michael, can you do this? But can you do it that way? And he's stubborn, so he doesn't do it that way. He does it a completely different way. Most of the time it's better, and so I have to credit him for that. Sometimes, most of the time, my views of what the music should be is nowhere near as good as what Michael's idea of what the music should be. So credit where credit is due. Michael is one of those. We couldn't do it without him. Any more questions from anyone? That would be good. Otherwise I'll just fill the gaps by absolutely talking out of my ass, which I can do. I can do that forever. You can ask my wife. She can confirm this. I can literally talk out of my ass for an hour if I want to. The only person I know that, the other person I know can do that is Joe Nurse. He's probably still asleep, this one. But Joe, I know you can do this. I know you can talk out of your ass for 2 hours straight. But I can do that as well. So no problem. I can do this. I am not lying. You know I'm telling the truth. Right now, I'm literally in a room. There is nobody in my house. And I am literally talking to a camera and talking absolute rubbish. So if there is any questions that you want clarifying, whether it's about Derelict, whether it's about our short films, whether it's about anything, even ridiculous things, I'm happy to answer. That's what I'm here for. So let's talk about it. Anything. Ask me even a question about other films. Ask me a question about my hair or about spiders. I don't know. Anything. I'll answer it. No problem at all. Meantime, I'll carry on talking about Derelict and why I think it's going to be a very interesting story. I think John interrupted rudely. Who are your main filmmaker influences? Oh, Iviana, that's a great question. All right, well, the thing is, there's that's a tricky one. There's a lot of them, quite a few of them. One of the most obvious one is John Carpenter. I've always been a huge fan of John Carpenter, but everybody that's ever done a horror film says John Carpenter is an influence, and I think you just can't escape it. He's just the king. But then outside of that, you know, I also have some. I think I'm a weird mix of influences. I absolutely love Korean cinema, for example, and that's always something that kind of transpires in my films. It's I'm not saying I manage to get that level of aesthetic visuals and all that, but it's something that's always, you know, the films of Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook, and even to some extent, you know, I forgot his name, which is terrible. The guy who made A Bittersweet Life. It's always something that's in there. But also, obviously, I'm a European, so my influences also come from European cinema quite a lot. Now, as far as filmmakers, yeah, like I said, so on this specific film, definitely Mathieu Kassovitz on La Haine, but also I'm also a big fan of these the 70s and 60s British cinema, so stuff like you know, the realism of those kitchen sink dramas and stuff like that. Oh, Katie, good question. What scares me? Do you know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what scares me. I suppose, and that's a very sad answer, I guess, but losing loved ones, that would be the scariest thing for me. I'm not scared of anything else. Sorry, this keeps cutting. I don't know. Sorry, everyone, that keeps cutting, and I don't know why. But it keeps cutting off. Don't know why. Okay, so I'll just wait for you to get back. It's very annoying. I don't know why it keeps cutting, but it does. We'll just have to run with it, I suppose. Yes, so Katie, if you're still watching, what scares me, yes, losing loved ones is an obvious answer. Though I have a funny story in Venice with Sarah, where we were walking down a kind of dark alley. If you've ever been to Venice, it's all dark alleys, but we were walking down a dark alley in Venice, and it was dark, to my defense, but I saw something at the end of the street, and I literally stepped in front of her and I said, "Whoa, careful," and she just looked at me and she started laughing. Right, let's try this on my phone because it keeps cutting. It's really freaking annoying and I don't know why. But on my end, it keeps cutting all the time. So here we go. So as I was saying, so yeah, just scared of losing loved ones is a typical thing for me. Yes, so I will finish that story about Venice. So we ended up in Venice and I stepped in front of her and I said, "Oh, careful." And turns out it was a fire hydrant. So I don't know what I was trying to protect her from. I thought it was a dog or something. So that was stupid. Anyway, so there you go. Yes, so good question. What scares me? Losing loved ones, influences, all sorts. But really, Argento, Carpenter, Bava, the Italians, the French, everywhere I can get it, influences. That's how it works for me. So yeah, I'm being told that those live things aren't working great, but that's fine. And now my freaking export has messed up, so that's okay. So that's the life of a filmmaker. You see, you spend 97% of your time on exports that don't work properly. Hello, Bergeron. Any questions for me? Don't let me down. Don't disappoint me. Let me know. Let me know what's your question, David Bergeron. I know you're watching. Pervert. Alright, drop it on me. Oh, here we go. Emily Bevan. Hello, Emily. Hello, my wife. Okay, that's good. So, I don't... Sarah Zaurin wants to join me on video. Be interesting. Alright, so... No, yeah, you declined. That's terrible. You let me on my own. You're letting me talking on my ass on my own. Okay, so the Derelict crowdfunding campaign is live, and obviously it's a very weird thing. We kind of feel like it's kind of like begging all the time. But yeah, if you can support it in any way, we would really appreciate it, obviously. And that could mean sharing, that could mean obviously contributing. Oh yeah, I meant to say we have some quite amazing perks actually in that crowdfunding campaign, in the way we decided to do it, because we have decided to do as much as possible perks that would be available immediately. So you won't have, for most of them, you won't have to even wait until the film is finished, because they'll be available to you now. So for example, we have some really impressive art pieces by Mark Stewart, and he will sign every single one of them. We have the poster by Mike Coombs, which he will sign as well, and it's an incredible poster. So that's great. And we also have, interestingly, we have the actual canvases for the poster for Wyvern Hill, but also for the poster for Derelict that Mark Stewart is actually doing now. Okay, so these are really great perks that you can get right now. Literally, we'll get them to you by the end of the campaign. So
You know, this is very exciting. We have noticed that on a lot of crowdfunding campaign, what people tend to do is the perks need to be once the film is shot and all that. And yeah, obviously we have some of that. And that makes sense because obviously some people just want to back the film to be able to be a part of the production team and see the film, and I get that. But we also thought that some people might be interested in kind of backing us and get a little bit of art for it immediately, something that they can get in their house, signed by the artist. You know, that was something that for us was really interesting. Hello, everyone who's watching. So any questions for me, today is the day to ask. So Aviana asked my influences, Katie asked what scares me, and I try my best to answer. I don't know if that went through on the feed because it keeps cutting, but anyway, there you go. It's probably my shit internet connection. I can see Mark Stewart is watching, and that's great. So Mark, while you're here, thank you very much for all the work that you've done. I was literally talking about you and the art pieces that you've produced. How much of yourself do you put into a screenplay like Derelict? For example, your fear of losing loved ones. Does Abigail's response represent how you might react, or is it imagining how someone else might? Well, that's an excellent question. I try to put a lot of myself in the screenplays. I don't think you can really write about things you don't know about. I would say that's the thing. And so in this specific case, what it was is I put a lot of my own father in her father. That's what it was. I tried to write him in a way that I imagined that specific horrific murder happening to my own father and how I would react to that. And this went through some fairly personal things. Yeah, and so sorry, I'm trying to read the comments at the same time. So yes, I do put a lot of myself in those scripts. And as far as imagining how Abigail reacted, obviously this film is inspired by a true story. And while we're not after the reproduction of that exact true story, we're not after a true account. I did do a lot of research into the actual case and how people reacted to it and how the family of the victim reacted to it, and that inspired me a lot. Seeing that quite a few years after the act, the family of the man who was murdered is still very much in shock and very much living in the shadow of that single event. I've been speaking to Steve, Gary's dad. He told me about you and he has my details to pass over to you. Hello. Yes. Okay. Well, if you send me a private message, we can definitely discuss that. That's not going to be an issue at all. Just PM me and I'm always happy to talk to people. Mikey JL Coombs released the Joe Gump footage. Well, yes. So the Joe Gump footage, that is, we will not confirm whether it's a myth or not, but there is a story that goes that there is a video of Joe moonwalking dressed as Forrest Gump, and we will release it if we are successful in this crowdfunding campaign. So that's all I will say. And if anyone knows Joe, they know they're in for something special. So there you go. That will work, I think. Anyway. Any other question? Mike, while you're watching, ask me a question. Go on. Don't leave me hanging. Go on, boy. David Bergeron, you're watching and you're not asking any question. I am disappointed in you, my friend. Very disappointed. So Mark, if you're still watching, I was literally in the middle of thanking you for your contribution to our efforts since Wyvern Hill. The work you did on Wyvern Hill is incredible. Your canvas is currently on sale in the perks. It's an amazing piece of art. The art that you've created for Derelict is also incredible and is also on sale. Tell us what it means to you to make films. Wow. Okay. I mean, you are my wife, so you know this. So you are essentially setting me up. What it means for me to make films, it means everything. I always tell that story to people, but you know, most 6-year-old. I worked a lot with children, so most 6-year-olds want to be a vet or a fireman or a policeman or anything like that. When I was 6, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. That's what I've always wanted to do. I don't ever remember wanting to do anything else. So that's always been the thing, and it's an obsession for me. I will never give up on it. I don't have any ambitions of Hollywood. I don't care about that. I just care about making my films, and I care about making them well, and I care about them being very well crafted, and I care about being able to support myself and mine through that. That's literally what I ask. What is your favorite camera angle? That's a tricky one. I don't have a favorite camera angle. I think the camera angle is only as good as the next camera angle, in the sense that it's all about how it fits together to tell the story rather than a specific camera angle. I think that's the way I approach the way I make my films. There is a lot of times where people on set say, "Oh, wouldn't it be really cool if we had that camera angle?" And I think about it and I go, "Yeah, it would. It would be a really cool angle." But how does it fit in the edit, and how does it help telling the story is more what I'm concerned with most of the time. And so I don't have a favorite camera angle, though I have been accused of using a lot of weird angles in an IMDb review. Favorite memory from our adventures? Go. Okay, so oh, what would it be? Oh God, there's too many. I mean, come on, dude, you're putting me on the spot. Favorite memory from our adventures? I think uh, the premiere from Wyvern Hill in Odeon. Premiering Wyvern Hill in that giant screen in Odeon with all these people turning up, and then turns out we had more people that night than Fast and Furious. That was a great memory. How amazing. Do you edit your own stuff? Yes, I do. Hang on, I missed a question. Uh, let me find it. Oh, it's tricky. How did LBS come into existence? Okay, so LBS came into existence because I got extremely pissed off with the way that we were being treated at. Do you know what? Screw it. I'll just spill the beans. By the way we were being treated at Hereford College of Arts, I got very pissed off with it, and at the time I was trying my best to um, to basically please the course. So I was making those little arty movies, and they were fine, and I liked them. But I thought, you know what, screw that. I'm going to make my own thing. And so Mike, Sarah, and Joe got together, and we decided to create LBS Film, which stands for, depending who you ask, Little Big Shorts or Little Brown Star, with the motto of not kissing ass. That was always the thing. So we always had that kind of punk attitude. This is the one pretension I have, is that we have a very much a punk attitude, and so we do what we like, and we do what's best for the film, and we do what's best to create the art that we want to create, and that's how we always approach making films. Joe and Nappy, that is a great memory. Getting up at 4 in the morning to put Joe in makeup, and then putting him in a nappy all day in a cold shed. Yeah, that was a good memory. And then he was like, naughty, naughty. And yeah, that was good. That was really good. Gokai, je peux pas mettre la traduction. Bah non, je suis obligé de le faire en anglais. Faut essayer d'attirer le plus de monde possible. So in English, back in English. Bergeron, no question. This is revolting. Come on. What is going on? Mikey, more questions from you. Anybody? John, you're back on track. Did you see my answer earlier to what kind of film, what genre of film Derelict was going to be? I hope you did. The live keeps cutting, so it's quite frustrating. But Jake Burnett is watching. So Jake, in case you haven't seen, you told me to tell you, well, the Derelict crowdfunding campaign is live. So there we go. Any new camera lens stuff planned for Derelict? I'm thinking like what you used on Wyvern Hill with the diopter lens. So John, this is actually a double tricky question. Yes, so we have we have budgeted for a little bit of equipment. New lenses is one of them. A set of anamorphic lenses. I love shooting in anamorphic. And we also have planned a new drone for Mike to pilot, because our drone is kind of showing his age a little bit and it's not quite mixing now with the cameras that we have. However, the double diopter that we did on Wyvern Hill, that's a really interesting thing. It wasn't a real split diopter. We cheated it essentially. I thought, you know what, split diopter is really interesting narratively, but it's also kind of a tricky thing to achieve, because obviously you need very specific equipment and that. But I thought, I've never seen anyone actually cheat it and do it successfully. Not to my knowledge, I had never seen that. So what we did is we actually did a double exposure. So we placed the camera very carefully and skillfully, hopefully, and we shot it twice. So twice without moving the camera, with once the background blurry and once the foreground blurry. But then the trick was to find a very specific place in the frame where you had a clear line on which you could split your shot so that it's completely invisible. Essentially, that's the trick. It's to find a line in the frame where you could cheat the shots so that nobody would notice it's two frames. Because the problem is when you change the focus on the lens, it also slightly changes the focal distance, so it moves your image forward and backwards just a little bit to make it simple. And so if you don't have that line in the middle, you have a very blurry kind of line in the middle of your shot. Mikey, why did say I had no choice in playing matte? I don't understand that question, but basically, if that's what you want to know, I wrote it for you. So I think you're a great actor. I think you'll pull it off. And when we did portraits together, I saw a depth to your acting that I thought we could exploit further over a feature film, and I definitely think you can pull it off. It really works excellently. Well, thanks, John. It was a risk. We weren't sure it was going to work. And because we didn't have that much time to shoot Wyvern Hill, we hadn't even covered ourselves on it. So if it didn't work, it didn't work. Sorry, the video is a bit shaky because my arms have started shaking. I am a wimp these days. I'm weak. Still no questions from David Bergeron, which is shocking. Absolutely shocking. David, oh, les questions là. Tu fais quoi? Allez, pose des questions. Yeah, so thank you, John. Yeah, it's yeah, it was an interesting thing. It came early as well. I thought about it at script stage. In the script, I thought, okay, so this would be a really good place to have a split diopter, and this would be another place. There is one that I didn't use because it didn't work at all, and it was during the puppet show. Where we wanted to create the impression that the crocodile was biting Pat, essentially. So we had the crocodile in the foreground, and it snapped its jaws like this, and then Pat was in the background, but it didn't work. I didn't like that one, so I didn't use it. So I found another solution in the edit. And yes, to answer the question earlier, I do edit all my own things. These days, I'm mostly an editor, to be honest. So yeah, I edit a lot of stuff for Arrow Video, for Imprint, and for Umbrella as well, and Vinegar Syndrome, and so all these companies really. I don't know how that happened. I guess he did, but I mean, it's a mystery. I look back and I'm not sure how exactly it did happen, but I do have some people to thank on that, but I won't because they'll get embarrassed again. So there you go. So yes, the Derelict crowdfunding campaign is live. And so if you want to help with it, it would be really appreciated. If we're 100% honest, we are underperforming a little bit. We're not quite sure why. We think maybe, you know, it is a risky project. It is an arty project. In a way, it's much harder to fund than straight genre projects, and we were aware of that. We never thought it was going to be easy. But we aren't reaching people outside our immediate circle, which is partly the Facebook algorithm. We are aware of that. It's very tricky. Facebook is where I have most of my following, so that's where I have to do most of my advertising and such. But currently, we get the feeling that the Facebook algorithm is not working in our favor. Particularly, we had quite a few people share the campaign and get no engagement, and these are people that usually get quite a lot of engagement on their posts. So this is kind of a strange thing. I've just had the door knock. I'm gonna go open. It's probably, I don't know what it is. It's not gonna be the most flattering angles, but I'm still gonna keep the live going. Beans, get in your bed. Bed, go on. Right. Hi.
Hello, mate. Just needs a signature.
Sorry, I'm doing it.
Oh, right. Worst time.
Thank you. No, it's all
There
right.
we go.
Thank you very much. Oh, all right. So where are we going here? This is turning into an unboxing video, I guess. What's in the box? We will find out. All right. Probably some Blu-ray. Hopefully, not a weird sex toy or something like that. That would be weird. Okay. So let me open this. Oh, look at that. This is the perfect timing. Yeah, he does. He thinks I'm a very important person. Perfect timing. Look at that. John, you still watching? This one's for you. Contributors copy for, you can't really see that. There you go. Italian Gothics, Tales of Terror, for which I contributed. There you go. I get it a little bit early because that's the way I am. So yeah, there we go. The Derelict campaign is live. Please, please, please help. We really need all the help we can. We could have gone for a straight genre film, and that would have made things much easier for us, but we didn't, and so it makes things harder. The Facebook algorithm also makes things harder. So we really, really, really need to push this. And if you believe in the project like I do, that will be yours soon. But not yet, John. Not yet. Yes, that was creepy. All right. Any more questions, guys? This is the time. This is the time before I get back to work. I have an export to do. Go on. One last question. Something stupid. Go for it. This is weird, by the way, doing this. Especially I'm opening the door for the postman. He's like, what are you doing? It's ridiculous. Ah, Necronomicon, your amazing app project about indie horror short movies. Wow, I'm glad one person remembers this. Okay, well, that's dead. There's no other way of putting it, really. What's your favorite color? I will keep that one in mind for in 1 second. So Necronomicon, I mean, we presented it to a couple of production companies. They were all interested by the ideas, but they all thought that it would work better with augmented reality, and then that would have multiplied the project by the budget by 100 essentially. We'd have had to make it all interactive with 360 cameras, and that was not the idea. The idea was really to get essentially. For those who don't know, Necronomicon was a project where we were going to create an app where you'd have to go to specific places to watch horror film, and these horror films were shot on the place that you were standing. So in your city, you'd have I don't know, 12 short films. You'd have to find the places, and you'd have to stand there. Some of them would only unlock at night, and you'd have to stand there and watch them while you're standing at the exact place where they were shot. That was the exact idea, and they were all a little bit creepy. The idea is that you were missioned with closing the gates of hell, and so each time you were watching that short film, it became available to you at any time, but it closed one gate. And the idea is we do seasons. And so each season would be a city. So we'd go in each city, find local filmmakers, get them to create give them a little bit of a budget, get them to create a little short film, a little creepy thing where you'd have to watch it in the dark under a bridge or something, and with other people like yourself. But unfortunately, we had devised a plan where we could do the first season for something like £16,000 or something like that. But everybody that looked at it said, well, it will work better with augmented reality, which, by the way, didn't really go anywhere, augmented reality. I'm still wondering what happened to that in this day and age, including 360 videos and shit like that. I mean, it's kind of feels like, I don't know, or at least maybe it's just me, but I don't see that many these days. So I think it would have worked better our way anyway. But maybe one day, it's just the cost of developing something like that is just a little bit too much. What's my favorite color? Red. Yes, very original. Nice hoodie. That was a trap, Mike. No, your face. Any more questions? John, go on. I know you have another one in stock for us. Otherwise, I'll start talking about the Derelict crowdfunding campaign again. Yes, there is. There is. Are there any painters or artists that inspire you visually for screen? Yes, there are plenty. The first one's my dad. You know, it's kind of important to know. I grew up in a house where my dad is an artist, so he's a painter. So my access to art came mostly from him, and from seeing his work hanging on the wall. And it was, I guess, that punk attitude that I have is from him, because it was always, he did whatever he wanted. It wasn't necessarily successful. It was never successful. You know, yeah, he sold a painting here and there from time to time, but as far as success, it kept escaping him, even though people that looked at his work were like, oh, that's incredible, it's new and it's fresh, and but it was never successful, because he decided that he wanted to do it his way, and he did just that, and no compromise. So that specific attitude comes from him. And obviously Jérôme Bosch is a big one, because again, from him, I grew up with that. Dali is another one. If I had the budget, that's exactly what I would aim to do, some surreal images on that level of you know, ambition. Will we see Pete Bird's ass in Derelict? No. That is gone. That's not going to happen. You'll see somebody else's ass, but essentially, and that's a big thank you to Pete if he's watching this. He's not, but if he was, he stepped up. To be honest, we found different people to get to play the body in the Derelict building, but essentially it didn't work. So Pete actually stepped up. It was never supposed to be him, and it ended up being him. I quite like that idea, because it kind of leads people to a false impression of what the film's going to be about, because it was never going to be Pete dead in the Derelict building. So you are never going to see Pete's ass. What will be the running time for Derelict roughly? Currently, the script is 92 pages. The common rule is 1 minute per page, but I don't find that it works that way. I find it depends on the style of the filmmaker, and for me, because I like a slow pace and take my time, I think you could look at probably the running time for Derelict would be 1 hour and 40 minutes. That would be roughly what I would think, John. But it might be less, might be more. Part of me thinks, you know, this is the difficulty being a creative, is you want to do what you want, and that's what I just explained. I always want to do what I want, and at the same time, you always kind of have to confront your own ideals to whether it's good for the film, or we have to wonder, you know, the amount of people that told us, oh, I would have cut 20 minutes out of Wyvern Hill. I don't think you can cut 20 minutes out of Wyvern Hill, but it makes you wonder, if I had cut 20 minutes out of Wyvern Hill, would it have done better, you know, with festivals and with audiences? And then you start thinking, do I care though? That's the thing. So, David Bergeron, how violent will it be? Very, very violent. Very violent, but in a different way. It's a very violent film, but it's raw. So it's not about gore. It's not about kills. It's not about stylized violence like in Wyvern Hill. It's about a very raw, brutal murder and the reality of trying to take revenge. And so part of the thing I wanted to do is I wanted to look at the murder of Abigail's father in a very uncompromising way. So I want to keep it as is. It doesn't mean we're going to show gore and violence and stuff like that. I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for this movie, but it's a long ordeal what this man is going through. It's horrid, and so that's one part of why it's violent. The other thing is it's violent morally as well, because Abigail is trying to get revenge for it, but it's kind of a slow process. It's not really an exploitation film, so it's not about her getting guns and shooting her way into revenge. It's really about her trying to find a way through revenge, and so she kind of fails again and again and again and again, and it's about her finding a way back to something healthier. So she goes to some dark places. So very violent is the answer. Yeah. Were you expecting anything else, really? All right, well, I mean, I can do this all day. I've got things to do, but that's fine. So back to Derelict. The crowdfunding campaign is live. If you're watching this, be aware the crowdfunding for Derelict is live, and we would absolutely appreciate your support, whatever that means, whether it's a contribution or whether it's a share, or whether it's a share to a page or to a group, or a packet of crisps. David Bergeron, where's our crisps? Huh? Which leads me to thanking the people that already contributed. So John, you're actually watching. Thank you very much for your help. We really appreciate it. We really hope that this is a bit of a slow start, but we will reach our goal and get this film made. I think we have a really special film, waiting to be made here, and so you know. Gokai, pose-moi une question en français et je réponds en français, il n'y a pas de problème. For my English friends, they'll know I'm talking to someone French, so there's no problem there. So there you go. My first live. This is weird. Mikey, you're next for the live, mate. You'll have to come and do it here, because I have a lot of quite a few followers, if I can say so myself. Ron Burgundy, I'm kind of a big deal. That kind of thing. Bullshit. Oh, Christ. Okay. Pete, I was just talking about you. Hello. I was talking how you saved us by essentially pulling your pants down. Very funny thing, Pete. So he took us out of this. Yeah, Mike, you're next. You do one next. Do one next. Is there no more sound? Are people not hearing me? I'm getting reports that there is no more sounds. So yes, well, in case you are still hearing me, Pete just saved us by essentially putting his ass out in a derelict building. So Pete, thank you very much for that. That was amazing of you doing that. So there you go. Yeah, we won't do that again. It will be somebody else next time. But thank you for doing that. That was great. Although, funny story is that Pete ended up with a stick almost going up his ass in that derelict building. So he probably hate me for saying that, but this is true. Almost ended up with a stick up his butt. There you go. And yes, Mike, so you'll have to come here and do the live yourself next time, because people are going to get sick of my face. Whereas you have a cute, like, teenage face. I look like an old fart with my grey hair and my weird beard. So there you go. All right. Any more questions? Mark, go on. I know you want to. Oh, it's gonna get weird. I'm just gonna be there and be quiet. That might be like a release speech. Yes, that is a great hash. Yes, I mean, you know what? I actually did receive reports that people were disappointed that Pete's ass was not in the trailer, and I had to explain that we had to keep it kind of Facebook friendly, obviously. But yes, Pete, a lot of people are disappointed that your ass is not actually in the teaser. Mike's speech led them to believe that your ass would be in the teaser. So a lot of people wanted to see your ass. So there you go. That's popularity, if you ask me. Well, okay, so David, will Pete's ass cutscene be in the Blu-ray bonus? I tell you what, if we get to the 30,000, I will literally go back and shoot Pete's ass. I will shoot Pete's ass naked. I will do some close-ups. I'll do some trackings. I'll do everything. I will do absolutely everything on Pete's ass. I'll even get Mike to kiss it, like literally for you, if we reach the 30,000 pounds. There you go. And I'll do that. Yeah. All right. Spend $1. I will do that. I will get people to go and kiss Pete's ass. How much was edited from Wyvern Hill? Deleted scenes? Do you know? Quite a bit. Mostly it was dialogue scenes. We shot a lot of stuff. Thanks, Simon. Yes, I knew you would record that pledge. If we do reach the 30,000 pounds, then I will get people to kiss Pete's ass live. Let me get to all the questions. So what was cut? What was cut from Wyvern Hill? Yeah, a lot of dialogue scene. Most importantly, a long dialogue scene in the car with Ellie and Pat, where they were talking about the father, and that got cut out. It was a bit too long, and people already complained that the film was already too long as it was. But the thing is, we literally cut it to the point where it was just abstract enough. If we'd cut any more, the film would have made 0 sense. Like a lot of people already complained that the film made 0 sense. To be entirely honest, I think this is people who didn't quite get the point. But anyway, for me, the film makes abstract sense. But if it started cutting any more, we might have not got away with it. Phil, I saw a question from Phil. Let me find this. This is painful. I'm going the wrong way. Am I going the wrong way? Phil, your question. I didn't see. Was it something about camera setups? I can't see the questions. Do you mind asking it again? And I will answer it immediately as it pops up. If you ask a question and I missed it, I am sorry. This shit is driving me nuts. It keeps cutting off, and then I'm trying to scroll through and it doesn't actually want to. It's very annoying. So okay. So I'm not seeing anything. Here we go. Hang on. I thought the other one was like totally. This is very. Right. I'm trying to find a question. Every time it pops up. What camera, what lens? What camera, what lens? For Derelict? So we're looking at shooting it on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K with a series of yeah. No, it's not an original question. So we're looking at shooting on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K with a series of anamorphics. I think they're called nanomorphic or something like that. They're very small, and the reason we're going for these is they do look beautiful, and they're very small, which makes them easy to use on a gimbal and for trackings and stuff like that. So. And getting into small places, because part of the trick of shooting on low budget is shooting in real locations, and shooting in real locations for indie filmmakers, as they know, it can be nightmarish. People live there. You have to not break anything. The small spaces, it's crowded. You have to stay as small as possible. I never ever get when I see indie filmmakers turning up with massive cameras in tiny spaces. It's strange to me. What were my inspirations for this film? Nathan, hello. Quite a few things. The True Story was a huge inspiration. I'm also very much inspired by the kitchen sink dramas of British films of the 60s, 70s. I absolutely love them. Early Albert Finney shit and stuff like that. But also the French film La Haine, classic movies, film noirs. The list is huge. I basically find that I'm a weird mix of influences all the time, and they come out not necessarily naturally, you know, they do come out naturally, but not necessarily purposefully. I don't purposefully go thinking, oh, this is my reference. It just comes out naturally. I'm just a film buff. I watch a lot of films, so anything is always an inspiration at any point. Like there's probably going to be some inspiration stuff that I watch in between now and making the films that is going to make it into this film in the end, because I'll be like, yeah, this is great. But I mean, at the same time, it's nothing original. It's John Carpenter and Martin Scorsese, and you know, I'm a classic kind of guy. I like the formalists, you know, Brian De Palma. I think it's because for me, form is linked to meaning and so for me there is no meaning without form. It goes hand in hand, because the form essentially carries your meaning. So when you do a shot and you do a forward tracking, it doesn't mean the same thing as when you do a backward tracking, or if you do lateral tracking, or if you do a still shot, or if you do a wide shot or a close-up. It doesn't mean the same thing. And so that's what carries your meaning. So inspiration is everywhere I can find it, you know. That's essentially the key, is you have to find inspirations absolutely everywhere. That's the key. I hope that answers your question. Do we kill Nathan in this one? No, we do not, and that's the first. However, we will get Nathan on board. For those who don't know this, Nathan's worked with us for quite a bit as well. Got dog hair on my camera, it's horrible. Yeah, he's done quite a few things. We tend to kill him a lot, but not in this one. In Wyvern Hill, he had maggots on his face or something like that. No, that wasn't you. That was Reese. You were tied up to a basement. A few questions. How did you decide on visual look for Derelict? Your cast have great faces on camera. What happened to you about Suzanne's aesthetics for Abigail? What appealed to you? Excellent questions. Okay, so the visual look of Derelict, I was very, very keen that, I mean, as I said, so about technicals and meaning. Again, for me, the form has to inform the meaning. It has to carry it. And so for me, I thought, because Abigail is a kind of modern femme fatale, I thought that she would be absolutely, her story would be great in black and white. And because she's lived through something that is basically earth-shattering, I felt that her world would lack color. And that was my thing, that her world would lack color. And so I was also very much inspired by the film Sympathy for Lady Vengeance by Park Chan-wook, the director's cut that goes in black and white as the story becomes more and more horrendous. And I thought I could actually apply that to the entire film, with two different timelines, where one would be in color, the other one in black and white, but they kind of influence each other, because you lose color in one and you gain color in the other as the revenge is taking place and as the murder is taking place. And so the form is essentially the meaning. As far as what appealed to me about Suzanne, firstly, I mean, her showreel was amazing. That's always the thing. You find, you know, you go on all these casting websites and you find some great looking people that would look good for the part, but their showreel isn't necessarily fantastic. But Suzanne, what I liked is there was a sharp look to her. I explained to you before that it was very, very sharp, almost like a knife. And then so we looked at that and we thought, okay, so she looks exactly like the character, but then her showreel was off the charts. And when we did that little trailer, it was amazing working with her. She understood exactly what we were going for. She got it straight away. She understood the camera. She knew what she was doing, and it just worked. It just worked brilliantly, and it was a pleasure working with her. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that again. Let me find the rest of the questions. It keeps disappearing. Sorry if I already. Did you learn anything from Wyvern Hill that made making Derelict any easier? Did you find the process easier, harder, based on your experience on your first feature? Great question. It hasn't been asked. Well, what I've learned from Wyvern Hill is that when you are trying to be an uncompromising filmmaker, then you shouldn't compromise. Essentially, what I found with Wyvern Hill is that the release, particularly the release and the distribution, made me double down. So I thought, you know what, if the distribution game is the way that it is at the moment, and your film gets massacred before it's even distributed properly, and there's no mention of the budget, and there's no mention of anything, and they're trying to sell it like a supermarket film, then I'm going to make sure that I make a film that they can't sell that way. So I literally, my first port of call was to say, well, do you know what? I think the first thing is to make something that's slightly less of a genre film. It's still a genre film, but less. And black and white, because, well, partly black and white, 50%, because I feel like straight away it gives you a thing that tells people, look, you know, this is going to be something else. Did I find the process easier or harder based on your experience of my first feature? I think we're in the middle of it. So we're in the middle of that crowdfunding. As I said, it's going a bit slow. So that's the difficulty right now. The reason we wanted to do crowdfunding was the experience of distributing Wyvern Hill was absolutely horrible. And we want to figure out the distribution. And what we want to do, more importantly, is we want to figure out the distribution, but also put that experience towards other indies. So if we can figure it out, I think the project in the long term is to offer that expertise to other indie filmmakers. I think that would be fantastic. And so at the moment, I can't say whether it's easier or harder because of the first feature. What I can tell you is that we are making sure that we are compromising on nothing, hence the crowdfunding. Essentially, for me, crowdfundings, you know, I see a lot of crowdfundings, and some of them I don't understand, because for me, crowdfunding needs to be for a lot of them are great. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing the process at all. But for me, crowdfunding needs to be for films that have zero chance of being funded any other way. Like, there is not particularly a great commercial appeal, and it's a little bit arty, or it's a little bit weird, or anything like that. For me, that's a perfect project for crowdfunding. That's the kind of stuff that I would, and I do support, you know. So easier or harder, I don't know. Different. All right, let me find more questions. La la la. Sorry, questions keep disappearing. So I'm trying my best. No, that's it. I think I caught up. Did I catch up? Yes, I did. Did I? I'm hoping I did. This is pooey. If I missed your question, I am sorry. They keep disappearing, and yeah, it's very annoying. So if I haven't answered your question, please don't hesitate to ask again. I'm not going to be vexed or anything like that if you have to ask a question again. But they keep. It's basically a crappy system. It would be easier on the computer, but it keeps getting the live. So yes, Phil, I hope I answered your question. But essentially, yeah, I mean, as far as making the film itself, I think, yeah, I think what I've learned definitely from Wyvern Hill is the profit share is it can be a good system, but we need to figure out the distribution first, because essentially right now we have a shit ton of people on contracts for Wyvern Hill. We've distributed 100% of the profits for Wyvern Hill, and we have all these people on contracts that are not seeing any money. We're not seeing any money. Essentially, the distribution game is such that every time we get a quarterly report, there's more expenses added to it that you don't know, that you can't prove are otherwise honest or dishonest. So it's a load of shit. We're not seeing really any money from that, so we didn't want to do that again. We want to pay people a fee. We want to pay people who are making this film their fee, and so that's why we're doing a crowdfunding. I could do a profit share again. That wouldn't be a problem. I think most people would be happy to work with me on a profit share. Maybe not. Those who worked with me can confirm or infirm this information, but I think it's vital to kind of pay the people who make the film, you know. Not me, I don't want to pay myself, but people who make the film, yes. All right, any more questions? This is very annoying. going very delicately so that I can see. Okay, I think I caught up. Yes, I caught up. All right. So yes, again, um, any bit of support is deeply appreciated. Thank you to those who already supported us. We're really looking forward to make this film. We've already abandoned one project because we thought it would cost too much money, and then we got to Derelict, and yeah, of course you'll work with me again, Mikey. Of course, I guess. This guy. Yeah, so we'd abandoned the Sunset Dogs because we thought it was going to cost too much money, and so we got onto Derelict, and actually we're even more excited about this project than we were about the Sunset Dogs. I think it's going to be a really unique thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how exactly to explain this film. It's kind of essentially what makes me me, a weird, a very weird mix of influences, and not just me, in fact, because then you think, I brought some writers on board like Michael Mackenzie and Kat Ellinger, and they're fantastic. You know, they're and they have their own identities as well, each of them. And they're going to do great work. And of course, my wife Sarah is always there as well, so part of it is hers as well. And then I'm hoping that the actors that are already involved, like Mike, like Pete, that they're going to bring a little bit of themselves. The roles have been written for them, so it's yeah, it's a process, I think, but I think it's going to end up being something that hasn't been seen for a long time on the indie scene, at least in the UK, I think. So if like me, you'd like to see this film made, then head to our crowdfunding. I think. Have you got a favorite moment from the shooting of this one that you can share with us? What, the trailer? Yeah, yeah. I mean, already, when we did I had this idea for a shot with Mike and Joe, and the whole thing is that they were looking at the sunset and getting high. So they're smoking weed, looking at the sunset, and I decided to shoot it on top of the multi-story in Hereford because there was those vertical bars that stops people from climbing over and jumping. I guess that's what they're here for. And for me, that kind of foreshadowed Mike's fate in the film. It's not a spoiler, but Mike's character ends up in prison at some point. And I like that. So the problem is that when you're trying to shoot at the magic hour, you essentially have to prep and prep and prep, and then you don't have that much time to shoot. And in fact, I mean, magic hour is like an hour, yeah, but the exact moment of that sunset is about 6 minutes. That's it. That's what you got. So we did this shot about maybe 12 times, and then we packed up the kit. I was happy with what we got. And then Mike said, "Oh my God, look!" And I looked, and the sun was literally just brightening up everything. Mike had the highlights on his face there, and Joe was in the background. And so we had about 1 minute to get the camera back out, put the lens on, balance it on a gimbal. If you've ever balanced a gimbal, you know what a pain in the ass that is. And then shoot it, and we got it just right. And it's that moment where you go down, and then it goes on Mike's side on his shoulder, and I knew this was the moment where I wanted it to transition to black and white, because that's the perfect moment. Is you get that rotating movement around him, and then he's in the foreground and Joe's in the background, and that's the frame you want to arrive to. And if you do it just right, then maybe there's just that moment of floating where people are wondering whether has it just changed to black and white, just right, just right. And so yeah, I was really pleased with that. But then it's funny because we shot that trailer. We actually wrote a script for the trailer, which is weird. You don't usually do that, but because we wanted to impress people with the crowdfunding campaign and show them a little bit what the film was going to be like, what kind of mood they could expect, and all that, I actually wrote a script for the trailer with a little bit of poetry from Emily Dickinson, and so the thing was that we knew exactly what we needed. So we knew exactly what shots we needed. So we took all the time we wanted, when possible, when weather allowed, to be able to do it just right. And so the result of that is that most of the shots in there, I would argue most of the shots in there are probably my best work, which is very strange. for me, at least on a personal level. So there you go. But then it's always a pleasure working with my people, you know, Mike and Joe and Sarah and Pete and the new people we've had on board. They've been amazing. I mean, have you seen in that trailer? I mean, Nick Cornwall is amazing, right? This guy has got a face, got a voice, got an attitude. Is amazing, and Suzanne is the same. She's got that a really great attitude with the camera, and they really work. Those people, they have extreme charisma. I'm really impatient to work with them. And Corinne, obviously, wow. I mean, she performed that drunk mother role with Mike. It was absolutely incredible. Like, and you have to imagine, right? We're only doing shots, so we're not even doing full scenes. We're doing shots, and these people, they're embodying these characters in 3 shots, and you get exactly what they're about. Pete is a great example of that, because if anyone who knows Pete knows he's a very gentle person. And to be fair, you know, I was concerned. I wasn't sure that I would buy him as a hard nut like that. And we went to the shoot, and he just became the character in 3 shots. And I look at these shots and I'm like, Pete's the character, you know. So I'm always humbled and impressed by people who can do that. It is impressive. I love working with actors. I love actors. Bad performances will destroy your movie. It depends on the movie, but if you're doing a drama that people are supposed to take seriously and they're supposed to embrace it and buy into it, bad performances kills your film for good. Like, so we can't afford to have that. So we made sure that we had the best people for the roles. You know, and since we found all our actors, we're also doing a little bit of rewriting to just fit them exactly the way that we want them. Michael McKenzie's working on that. Kat will be working on that as well. So, you know, we're doing our best to deliver the best possible film. So that's what's important. And don't get me wrong, I don't feel comfortable doing this live and stuff. I think it's the first live I ever made. But unfortunately, I have to be the little beggar in the corner and make people aware that we have a crowdfunding going and that we have a film that we're preparing. And I'm hoping that this helps. You know, reach people that don't necessarily know us. Because currently we're reaching quite a lot of immediate friends and family, and we want to reach outside of that for this crowdfunding and get the money that we need to make it and pay those people, because you know, you're working with all these incredible actors and you want them paid. The way that I do my films and I keep them at such a low cost is that, as you all know if you've worked with me, I shoot them, I edit them, I do the sound edit, I do the color grade. I do so many key roles that it cuts the cost massively, but I don't want to cut the cost on the people that are working for me and with me. These people need to be paid. And so this is where the money for that crowdfunding is going. It's not going into anything else. It's not going in my pocket. It's not going into paying me enormous amounts of money to do whatever. It's going towards paying Suzanne and Mike and Pete and Mark and Mikael Sanchez and Corinne and Dean and Nick, all these people that are doing incredible work. So this is where we need the help, not for anything else. If it was just me, I could do my films with nothing, and I do, you know. So, any more questions? Really, I am interested by all these questions, even if I miss them sometimes. That's the. Oh, hello, Madeline. I am seeing you soon, I believe, for an interview. Go on, don't leave me hanging. One more question. Come on. Mark, you always have interesting questions. I can see you there. Nathan. Why aren't we killing you in that one, Nathan? Maybe I need to write a scene where we kill you. What do you think of that? That'd be good. I don't know if that would fit in that film, though. Weird black and white drama. Alright, well, if there's no more question, I will disconnect. Maybe, maybe not. Suspense. Well, it's not bad for a first live. I think we covered a bit of ground. Not bad at all. Okay. Can we contribute money towards the film that's apart from Indiegogo? Yes. Yes, but all right, this is where it's kind of tricky. The thing with Indiegogo is it helps because it also helps spread the word of the project, and so we really want to reach our target with that. Um, Honestly, one of the reasons I was hesitant to do a crowdfunding is because if we fail, that's a really, really bad um, that's a really bad impression of the project. That's a really bad impression of us, essentially, for failing a crowdfunding. So we need to make sure that that crowdfunding is successful. As far as contributing money outside of the crowdfunding, that is possible, but that creates some complications with legalities, with tax, with contracts, because anybody that wants to contribute money outside of Indiegogo is going to need to be put under contract. So I'm happy for that to happen, but we first need to make sure that this campaign is successful, essentially. You know, and then yeah, if there are more people that want to invest for a percentage of the film, then absolutely. But these people need to be aware it's exceedingly hard to make money these days with a little indie film like that. And you know, proof is us. You know, Wyvern Hill got distributed worldwide. I mean, currently in the US, but it's also going to Germany, it's going to Benelux, it's going to Russia, it's going everywhere. Going through traditional channel of distribution, we are yet to see some money. So we want to figure that out. We want to figure out how we make money. Now, the thing that's very infuriating with Wyvern Hill is if we'd self-distributed, we'd have made some money because our Blu-rays, all our Blu-rays sold, and that basically covered the budget. We covered the budget with just the limited sale of our Blu-rays only, and so we're thinking, you know, if we could do that on 10 times the scale, we would actually be able to make money and then never have to crowdfund again because we could fund our own films and increasingly more expensive films and so on and so on. But the reality of it is that through traditional channels of distribution, making money on a little indie feature film is extremely difficult. And so while I do welcome investors outside of the crowdfunding, the great thing with the crowdfunding is you will get something for your money immediately, and you won't have to wait for us to make any money to get your money back. You essentially get something for your money, and I think that's kind of an honest way of working it. And I'm all for it, but it needs to pick up. It needs to pick up momentum. It needs to pick up speed. It needs to get off the ground, essentially. And at the moment, it's fine, and we're very grateful for the people that helped us so far. But we needed to pick up more momentum. It doesn't help with Indiegogo being a pain in the ass. We've had some problems with some major contributions that didn't go through. It's just infuriating. But we'll get there. We will get there. I'm confident. I'm confident. There has to be some people that want to see something original. There's a straight donation section on the Indiegogo that's right at the end if people aren't interested in perks. That's true, Mike. Thank you for this. Personally, I would rather give people something for their money. But yes, if they're interested in just donating, that's fine as well. Can we invest in the filmmaker without a return? Yes, you can, John. I don't know how comfortable I would be with that. I can't lie. You know, look, I'm a French guy who was not raised in money. I was never comfortable with money. It's a weird subject for me. I don't necessarily like approaching the subject with anybody. But yes, if you do want to invest in the filmmaker without a return, please do. But I would prefer for you to get a return. Even if you're happy to get a contract for your money and you're aware that you might not see that money back, that's fine. But I don't want to play a dishonest game. I think a lot of people play a dishonest game in this business, and I don't want to do that. I want to be straight with people. You know, that's the way to be, I think. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think there's a delay because these questions and answers take forever to come through. It's so awkward. I'll just stare there. Okay. Well, it does. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, look, you know, I just want to make films. I just want to make good films. That's the because anybody can make films these days. That's true, and that's good. That's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Anybody can make films. That's great. I think it's going to take some adjustment, but within 20, 30 years, we're going to see some great, great, great new talent emerging from this digital revolution thing. But at the moment, the problem is, you know, a lot of people are interested in making films. I don't know how interested they are in making good films. I'm interested in trying to make good films. I'm not saying I'll succeed, or you know, nobody sets out to make bad films, but you know, that's my ambition. Is I want to make good films. Unfortunately, making films is an expensive job. It costs money, and so here we are begging. And you know, if I'm honest, I never ever thought I'd do a crowdfunding. I always refused for those reasons. I feel like it's kind of a strange thing. But I get it. I do get why it's necessary, and obviously that's why I'm doing it. But if I didn't have to, that's not something I would like to do. You know, I would rather find some actual investors and be clear and say, look, you know, you might never see your money. You might triple your money, but it's not a guaranteed investment. But I guess that the security of crowdfunding is that you get something for your money, and so that's what a lot of people are interested in, and I get it. Honestly, you know, if I'm working class, so I get that people don't want to just give their money for yet another project that might not just happen. The thing is, we will make it happen. We always do. Um, but I get it. It's especially these are rough times, you know, tough times ahead. So it's hard and it's slow, and I do get it. But that's how it is. Right. Well, what time is it? Let me check. I think that's gone on for long enough now, yeah? It's 2 o'clock. Come on. An hour and a half. That's pretty good. Yeah. Let me try and catch up. Oh god, I can't look at my face. Fucking horrible. Okay. That's me talking there. Stop talking. Ew. Alright. Alright. So if there is no further question, I will disconnect. This is awkward. It's like that thing you do when you're trying to leave a friend's house, but you just step in the corridor and you stay there for hours. Yeah, hot sauce connoisseur. When can we expect Derelict or Wyvern Hill hot sauce? Well, do you know what? That is actually an excellent question, Mike. We are actually working towards a probably maybe a hot sauce in future with Dean of the Dead. Uh, Hopefully a Wyvern Hill hot sauce. Well, I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, but we are talking to Dean at Dean of the Dead, and he's a great guy, so it could happen. But meantime, I think Dean has offered 10 hot sauces to be added to the pledges on this crowdfunding. So this is good. All right. Wow, this is strange. No, I can't look at that. That's horrible. Okay. Right, guys. So thank you so much to everyone who came to this little thing here, asking questions. So anybody that has questions, John, Phil, all you guys, that was great. Fill the gaps, not let me hanging and talk out of my ass for hours. If you have any other question, you have about 30 seconds before I cut this off. Get on with some jobs and works that I have to do. But I will do another one. But this time we'll try to get somebody else involved, whether it's Mike or Pete or somebody else. Can we ask Mikey JL Coombs to do his interview at the morning? Yes, you can ask him. I have some content of him that I will post. No problem at all. Don't worry about that. Some behind the scenes stuff. No, maybe not. But I do have some interview content of Mike that I can post. No problem. No problem at all. Tomorrow, maybe. Perhaps. But we'll get Mike to do a live as well. That might be interesting. He might have some interesting views on things. Behave yourself. Come on, mate. You can do a live. You know, as well as I do, you crave the attention. You love it. You love it. You're like, is that me? Release Pete's speech. Okay. Well, you'll have to see that with Pete. I mean, get that hashtag trending, and as I said, if we reach the £30,000, I will literally go back to the. Do you know what? If we reach the £30,000, I'll literally do a calendar of Pete. We'll do a calendar of Pete, right? So it'd be Pete's ass, Pete's nipples, Pete's hair, Pete's everything. Pete in sexy situations. That's what we'll do. Okay. So Pete as the sexy waiter. Pete as the sexy cook. Pete as the sexy teacher. You name it. £1,000 pledge and Pete's speech goes public. There you go. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I actually agree with that. No, actually, you know what? Yeah. If we manage to smash our goal, I will do a calendar of Pete. And if we go beyond our goal, I'll do a calendar of Joe. Now that will be strange. That'll be a strange one. The men of LBS films. All right, well, let's get this target smashed then, and we'll do a thing with Pete. Pete doesn't even know. I mean, yeah, totally. That's what I'm realizing. He likes it. He likes the attention. It's like, totally. I mean, that's what needs to happen. You know, let's sell the attractive one. Yeah. You know, there you go, Pete. There you go. You've been sold. Yeah, it's for a good cause. I mean, and I'm sure he'd agree. You know, you'd get paid. You'll get paid extra if we get that. If you get that target smashed. So you love it. You love it. Calendar of Pete. The Pete calendar. Limited edition, signed by Pete. Maybe we'll do it in like odorama or something. We rub it on different body parts of Pete, like Pete's aftershave, like rub it on his face here, and then it smells like Pete's face. And then obviously it's Peach, you know. You'll have to see if you're brave enough to try and smell that one. But yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And obviously we do Mike as well. And Mark. Let's do Mark. The nude artist. The nude artist. Mark Stewart. Painting in the nude. I think that's a great idea. Okay, this has turned into absolute nonsense. As usual, we wouldn't expect it any other way. I think we've answered quite a few questions. So, thank you all. If there is no more questions, then I will leave you be. Mark is up for it. Okay, Mark is up for it. All right, let's smash that target then, and you guys better be ready. We're doing this. Yeah, we smash that target. Yeah, all of you. There you go. That would be a weird calendar, but I think calendar of weirdos. All right. This sounds good. All right, so you guys, thank you very much. And if there are no more questions, then I think it's time to end this. I think that was quite helpful. I hope you guys keep sharing the Derelict crowdfunding campaign. It's very, very, very important that we reach our goal to be able to make this movie. Nude Mark Stewart will be painted as, wow. So yeah, we in the calendar we get Mark Stewart, the artist, painting nude Mark Stewart, but Mark Stewart is nude, and he's in the painting. He's painting nude Mark Stewart. So that's an endless nudity of Mark Stewart. I think that would sell. If that doesn't sell, I don't know what will. So there you go. Any more question about the process, about the film itself, guys? Come on, one more question. I'll leave you time for one more question. One more question that does not concern Pete's ass or naked Mark Stewart. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you're up for it, Mark. Though that's a good thing. Go on. One last question before I go. That way we end it on a question, and then I will leave. I will leave everyone alone. I will stop parasiting everybody's Facebook. Make it a pertinent question. Go on. Something smart. Make us look like the artists that we are, you know. God, I don't know how these influencers do it, seriously. Why is this? Some strange stuff to do, really. I'm talking to a phone. And I can see little faces popping up there. It's like, really? And you can see a little eye. That means people are watching you. How weird is that? It's very strange. Alright. There's no more question, guys. I'm gonna cut this off. You've let me down. This is awkward. All right, so if there's no more question, I am now logging off. Thank you all for watching. That was great, and that was a lot of fun. We'll do that again with other members of the cast at some point, just to push this little campaign a little bit further. John, if you want to talk about investments, you know where I am. No problem. I'm happy to talk to you. And thank you all for the questions. Is Derelict your most personal film? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, I would say. I mean, I haven't done it yet, so that's kind of hard to say. Because what I'm hoping is that it becomes personal for other people involved as well. I think the only way that you make a really interesting, intimate thing is if it becomes intimate for the people that become a part of it as well. But yeah, I mean, I always approach my next film as the most personal. I think it has to be. Obviously, the problem with Wyvern Hill is I didn't write it. So it can't be my most personal. It wasn't my writing. And writing is a vital part of a film. It's basically your initial voice, and then you build on that. But yeah, I'm hoping that this will be my most personal film. But then I'm hoping that every film I made is personal. Like Wyvern Hill, like I said, I didn't write, but I think I made it personal. Yeah, you have to kind of reach into your own experiences to get something that will speak to people in a way. I guess that's the way that I look at it. And that's the only way you can talk to people. You have to make something personal. But then, you know, I'm a genre freak, so I love genre films, and so anything that has to do with that is also personal to me, because I kind of built myself on these. They're part of me. I am obsessed with the genre, so any genre, not just horror, you know. So anything like that becomes personal to me. Yeah, I have a personal relationship with films. That's sometimes unfortunate because I get very annoyed about things. But yeah. Being DIY filmmakers, how important is it to have that community support? It is vital to have a community support. I don't know. I don't even know. It can be at any level. When you mean community support, it doesn't need to be the support of your city. It doesn't need to be the support of your country. It can be the support of your friends. It can be the support of your family. Um, but I do think that it's vital to have that community support, you know, in the sense that you can't make a film on your own. So you have to find good actors, you have to find good technicians, you have to find good musicians, you have to find good artists to support you. They have to believe in you. It's hard. They have to believe that you're not, because, you know, we're going back to what we were saying earlier, which is everybody can make a film. So how do you know if you're an artist, if you're a technician, if you're an actor, how do you know who you put your trust in, who you put your faith in, who you're going to trust with your image, who you're going to trust with your work, who you're going to trust with all of that? And so yeah, you do have to build a little community around you, I think. People that trust you, people that you do trust, but it goes both ways. Like, you know, you have to trust those people, but they have to trust you as well. If people provide work for you, and then you ruin it by doing absolute crap, then it's not going to keep happening, and you want it to keep happening. I mean, if you want to keep making films. So yeah, you have to have that community around you, and I'm grateful to my community, you know, and you know that because you're part of it. But you know, Mark is a good example as well, because I hesitated asking Mark to work with us on Derelict because he'd done so much work for the Sunset Dogs, and we ended up abandoning it for now. We're hoping we get back to it, but and you don't want to keep doing that. You want to make sure that people feel valued. You want to make sure that people feel like they're going somewhere with you. You want people to feel like they're going on a journey with you. I think that's the thing, and that you're going somewhere. You know, I think it's cool. Film is a hobby as well. I get it. But I always try and think about the people that get involved with me. What did they get out of it? Do they get artistic fulfillment? Do they have fun at least? You know, yeah. So it is important. It's vital. There is no way you can make films on your own, and you shouldn't make films on your own. It's not fun making films on your own. There's no fun in that. There you go. Well, thanks, Mark. I'm glad you do feel valued, but there you go. So you guys, it's just you now, so it's perfect to leave it there and get on with some work. Stop parasiting your day. Mike, I thought you were working, you lazy git. Yeah, I see you there. So yeah, let's leave it there. I will see you all soon. Mike, you're next on the live. All right? Speak soon.